Hey, what's going on YouTube, and welcome to another Season 7 League of Legends Champion Guide. Today, gonna be covering top lane Wukong, the Monkey King.
I will be the best.
So why exactly would you want to play top lane Wukong? Well, he's a champion with pretty damn good burst damage, and he's relatively easy to learn as well. His abilities are very straightforward, and his combo is incredibly easy to pull off. He then also has some very high AD scalings, and he's a great team fighter because of his ultimate. He's a champion that even has built-in armor penetration, which comes from his Q ability, and it lasts 3 seconds. This allows him to deal with even the tanky targets. He then has a really good gap closer from his E ability that also does a lot of damage, and he even has invisibility. He has a lot of things going for him, and he is a pretty strong champion. Now he does, however, have very limited crowd control. His ultimate does knock up targets, which is fantastic, but that's all the crowd control he has. He does also have no built-in sustain, so if enemies do poke him down over and over again, usually he's not able to deal with it too effectively. Last tier, he is a very item-dependent champion. He really needs his Black Cleaver in order to shred the armor when he is in his ultimate. In order to get off his full ultimate as well, he's going to need a bunch of tanky items as well, or he's usually going to be focused down during it. All in all, he's still a very strong champion and a very viable top laner. For your masteries, you want to go 18 Cunning and 12 Ferocity, grabbing Thunderlord's Decree as your keystone mastery. This is a fantastic mastery on Wukong because just with a quick E and Q ability, you are able to proc this. It'll add an absolute ton of damage into your trades, and a lot of people are going to be pretty annoyed by it. For the rest of your masteries, you're pretty much just focusing on increasing your damage as much as possible, so your E and Q combo do a lot of damage. You're not going to have to worry about defensive too much, because after you E and Q, you can use a W and simply walk away. For your runes, you'll want to go for attack damage reds, armor yellows, a mix of cooldown reduction and scaling cooldown reduction blues, and attack damage quints. With the 6 normal cooldown reduction and the 3 scaling cooldown reduction, you are able to get 10% CDR at level 18, which is exactly what we need because usually we'll get 30 from our items. Then, since you already get a chunk of attack speed from your E ability, we take the attack damage just to hit as hard as possible and make sure we dish out a lot of damage. Finally, since there's usually a fair amount of AD on the enemy team, we take that armor in our yellows just to be a little bit more durable. For your first summoner spell, you'll want to pick up Flash. This is a required summoner spell on Wukong because it gives us a reliable escape and it can get you into a better position as well in a team fight to hit more targets with your Cyclone. Ignite is one good option for your second summoner spell. This will give you some nice added kill pressure in the lane and increase your chances of snowballing. I'll pretty much always take this if I am against champions as well who do abuse healing. Now, Teleport is also another great second summoner spell. It's fantastic if you want to split push a lot of the game and still be able to make it to those team fights and objectives. Pick up Flash and then take either Ignite or Teleport. Your passive is Stone Skin, and this gives you some nice built-in tankiness. So, Wukong gains between 4 and 8 armor and magic resist for each visible nearby enemy champion and a range of 1400. So this passive is pretty decent because if you're in a 5v5 team fight, this will give you 20 to 40 bonus armor and magic resist during it. Since we'll usually want to go for a Yumu's and a Black Cleaver first, this will give us some nice added tankiness in those early team fights. During the lane phase, this passive's not that big of a deal because 4 armor and magic resist is not that big, but hey, it's better than nothing. Your Q is Crushing Blow, and this gives us some nice added damage and also some nice built-in armor penetration. When activated, Wukong's next basic attack within 5 seconds gains bonus range, deals bonus physical damage, and reduces his target's armor for 3 seconds. This ability will also reset your auto attack timer. Now this does only have a 10% AD ratio, but it can reduce armor by 30%, which is pretty massive. To use this ability effectively, you'll want to follow it right after an E ability. After you jump on them, if you hit them with this ability, of course they do get that reduced armor, and since you have all that increased attack speed, those faster attacks will ignore that armor. This is a pretty solid ability, but it is not as good as our E ability, so we want to max this one second. Your W is Decoy, and it is your invisibility that's great for engaging or escaping. When activated, Wukong enters invisibility for 1.5 seconds and leaves behind a decoy of himself, which after 1.5 seconds vanishes and deals magic damage to all nearby enemies. So this is a really nice ability since it is an invisibility, however it is based off of our AP, and since we have no AP, it's going to do pretty much no damage. It is, however, fantastic for engaging or escaping. You can use this ability to walk into the lane stealthed and then jump onto the enemy with your E ability and they wouldn't have even seen you. This is a great way to engage into a bunch of targets and then activate your ultimate. If somebody's trying to kill you, then of course you can use this as well to walk away invisible. You can do this throughout the lane phase to trade effectively by hitting them with your E and Q ability and then using this to walk out. As Wukong, you could also hit your S key to stop walking. People may have thought you've gone into decoy when really you're just standing there. This is a really fun juke to try to do on your enemies, and when they do finally figure it out, then you can just stealth away. Your E is Nimbus Strike, and this does some pretty decent damage. It's your gap closer, and of course also gives you attack speed. When activated, Wukong dashes on a cloud to the target enemy and sends out images to attack up to 2 additional enemies near the primary target, dealing physical damage to each enemy struck. Upon hitting his target, Wukong gains bonus attack speed for 4 seconds. It has an 80% AD ratio, which is the best of all of our abilities, and the bonus attack speed is between 30 and 50%, and it does scale, making it a very solid ability. To use this ability in lane, you can use it to either last hit minions if there is multiple low ones, or of course poke your enemy. Usually I'll poke my enemy with this ability, hit them with a Q to reduce their armor, and then hit them with a bunch of auto attacks with that bonus attack speed. It will do a lot of damage, and when the enemy wants to try to trade back, you just hit your W and walk away from them. Since this is definitely our best ability, you'll want to max it first. Last, we have your very strong AoE ultimate, Cyclone. When activated, Wukong spins around for up to 4 seconds, losing the ability to use abilities and basic attacks, but dealing physical damage to all nearby enemies every second. Enemies affected by Cyclone for the first time are also briefly knocked up. During Cyclone, Wukong gains 5% bonus movement speed every half second up to a maximum of 40% bonus movement speed after 4 seconds. This ability has a 110% AD ratio per second and a total of 440% AD. It hits pretty hard. Whenever you're going for a team fight or an all-in on an enemy champion, you'll of course want to activate this ability. Start by closing the gap on them with your E ability, hitting them with a Q to reduce their armor, and then activate this ability. Once you have your Black Cleaver, this will also shred the armor of everybody hit, making it a really strong ultimate. For your skill order, you first want to put a point into your ultimate whenever you can at 6, 11, and 16. You'll then want to focus on maxing your E ability for its high damage and scaling attack speed. Then you'll want to move on to your Q ability because it is pretty decent damage as well, but it also has a scaling armor penetration, making it a fantastic ability. Then of course we save our W ability for last because it is based off of our AP. We just want one early point at level 3 so we can actually engage and run away. Your combos are pretty damn easy to pull off on Wukong. All you really have to do is hit the enemy with an E ability and then hit them with your Q to reduce their armor. Then while their armor is reduced, hit them with a bunch of auto attacks with that increased attack speed from your E ability. Whenever you feel that the enemy is going to return a bunch of damage, activate your W ability and run away if you do need to. When your cooldowns come back up, jump on them again with your E ability, hit them with the Q, and follow up with autos until they finally drop. You can ultimate whenever you want, but I'll usually follow it right after a Q when they do have reduced armor. Wukong is a champion with a pretty decent lane phase. You want to trade by using your Nimbus Strike to jump onto the target and then hit them with your auto attack and a crushing blow. If you feel that the enemy is going to start trading damage, of course you can activate your decoy to go invisible so you take no damage and then re-engage whenever your abilities do come off cooldown. Keep in mind, however, that your main goal, of course, is last hitting. You'll want to prioritize farming because you really need your core build for your Cyclone to be pretty effective. In between your last hits is the time to harass the enemy. If you did take teleport, then you want to make sure you watch the map for teleport gank opportunities. The decent mobility from your E ability and of course your Cyclone make you a very good ganker. Wukong has one main goal in teamfights: hit as many targets as possible with your Cyclone to disrupt the enemy as much as possible, and of course reduce the armor on everybody when you have the Black Cleaver. If the enemy is split into 2 sections, then you'll have to quickly decide if you want to ultimate the front line so your carries can easily kite, or go into the enemy backline. Usually it's a lot safer to peel for your carries, but if you do have some teammates with diving abilities, you may want to try and delete the backline. Of course, after you do help your carries, you'll want to make sure you delete a high damage carry by jumping onto them with your Nimbus Strike, hitting with a Q, and then following up with a bunch of damage. Now let's look at a couple hard matchups, and first up is Pantheon. Pantheon's going to be really hard for you because of his spear spam, and of course his passive shield. You'll want to try to take off his shield as much as you can by E-ing to him and hitting him quickly with an auto attack, and then using your Q ability afterwards. As for the spear spam, well, there's not much you can do about it. You may want to start with cloth armor and health potions to make it through the lane phase and build armor early on. Next here is Tryndamere, and against him you don't really ever want to get in drawn out trades because he's going to win those ones. You'll pretty much just want to poke him down with your E and Q combo and then disengage with your W whenever he starts to fight you. He definitely outscales you later on in the game, so you're going to have to try to kill him early on. Be careful of his spin ability as well, because even if you do go into stealth, he will know where you are and can usually hit you with it. Next here is Kennen, and he's hard for you because usually he's going to outtrade you rather easily. Try to wait until his abilities are in cooldown and then go for an EQ combo. Be very careful of his electrical surge because even if you stealth, he can easily get on top of you again with that ability. Whenever you guys are level 6, be very careful if you're not ahead, because he can easily kill you in the stun from his ultimate. As long as he's going for an AP build, then you'll want to buy an early Hex Drinker as well. Alright, now let's finish this off with the item build, which starts with either a Doran's Blade Health Potion and a Warding Totem, or a Corrupting Potion and a Warding Totem. Against a very hard AD matchup, you could of course go for Cloth Armor and Pots as well, but usually these are the two starts you're going to want to go for. For your core build, you have the Yumu's, Black Cleaver, and a Ravenous Hydra. You'll get 30% CDR from these items, and with your runes, you're already going to be CDR capped. You're of course going to have the Armor Shred from the Black Cleaver as well, a really nice Tiamat Activate, Health Steal, and of course even Lethality, and a lot of attack damage. If you're against a very squishy lineup, then you could go for Trini Force instead of Black Cleaver. I'll usually go for the Black Cleaver because I really love that Armor Shred, but if people aren't going to be building armor anyways, then you may as well go for the Trini Force for increased damage. If you instead wanted to be a little bit tankier, then instead of the Ravenous Hydra, you could get the Titanic Hydra. It's still a great split pushing item with a great activate, but it'll also make you a little bit more durable. For your boot options, you first have the Merc Treads against high AP and CC, Ninja Tabbies against high AD teams, Boots' Swiftness for all around mobility, and Boots' Mobility if you do want to roam around a lot and get there really quickly. For our item pool though, we first have the Maw. This is a great offensive and defensive item, and if you are a big fan of it, then you may want to consider getting rid of those scaling cooldown reduction and cooldown reduction blues and picking up Magic Resist or something instead. Now you could instead go for a high lethality build and get either a Duskblade or an Edge of Night. Both are really solid lethality items, and if you are snowballing, you may want to consider a high lethality build. The Edge of Night is a personal favorite because that spell shield can allow you to get that ultimate off a little bit easier. Now if you instead needed some armor, you could get a Dead Man's Plate or a Randuin's. The Dead Man's Plate is great for its added mobility, and the Randuin's is solid against high crit champions like Yasuo. Then if you needed some health and magic resist, you could get a Spirit Visage. It's not crazy strong unless like say a Mundo, but it is still a really solid item. Then of course last is the Guardian Angel, a fantastic late game item to come back to life, and it also gives you some nice armor and magic resist. For my example full build though, I take that core build, then add a Dead Man's Plate and a Guardian Angel. We'll have a really solid amount of damage, and our ultimate is going to hit really hard and also shred their armor. The Dead Man's Plate will make us a little bit tankier, and the mobility will get us there a little bit faster, and of course the Guardian Angel, just fantastic in the late game. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is everything I've got for top lane Wukong. Don't forget to check out the video description below for a link to all my social medias. I stream every night but Tuesday at 7 PM Eastern now, and of course that link is down there. As is my Discord server and my second YouTube channel. Also, if you guys did enjoy the video, please make sure you like and subscribe, but other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy, have a good day, and peace.